Oh, yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. That is our Seaside band. So good. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, Seaside, for everybody tuning in. Good morning, folks. Good morning. We're going to start out with a nice song, and I'm sure you all have probably heard this one before, but it's the message is about serving in this song. Here we go. Can I serve today, sweet spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Who needs my love today, sweet spirit? Who needs my love today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How can I serve today, sweet spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go.
Woo, that is beautiful. All right. Thank you for getting us going. Hey, Rebecca, you are all over the news. You're on all our local TV shows. You're in all the papers around here. Out of the San Diego Arts Music Awards, like Best Picture is the top one. The top one is Best Singer in San Diego. And this year you have been voted San Diego's Best Singer. We are so happy. We are so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
And you've got a wonderful team here at Seaside.
Thank you.
That is from Bob and the boys in the band.
Thank you so much.
We know you're a team.
Sweet. Oh, they're beautiful. My goodness. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're so excited for you.
It was an honor. I was super surprised, super grateful, and I'm just so blessed. You know, it got delayed. It was supposed to air, the whole awards was supposed to be in mid-March, like March, 15th or something like that. And because of, good old COVID, we've had to cancel all events and such. So it's been delayed, and they're like, okay, well, maybe we'll be able to have the event in July. No, and so once they figured out that wasn't going to happen, they figured it away and transferred it online, like we've been able to do here at Seaside. It's kind of, just the way we've had to adapt.
Yep,
and we did it.
And I know they got Jason Moran to
Yeah.
give you the Best Performer in San Diego Award.
So very honored, very grateful. And thank you for the love, Seaside. I really, really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
It's a joy. This is ours. Woo! All right. That is fabulous. Hey, good morning, Seaside. What a joy it is to be here with you, as well as San Diego's best singer. It's like how fun. And, of course, a Seaside band that is just fabulous. Thank you for being here week after week. And, together we're creating a message that goes out. Our mission and our purpose is to just inspire people to live their divinity. And we are doing our best to continue to do that. And we can feel the love that is here. The seats are empty, but we can feel your consciousness. Last week, we had over 1,500 people view the Sunday service that we did about Hamilton. And this week, we're going to be doing our service about the movie Yesterday. And so to set that tone, to take us a little bit deeper, is our wonderful, very own, the Reverend Debbie McDonald. Would you take us to a deeper place with some prayer and stillness and sound and candle lighting and all of those ceremonial kind of things?
I will. Hello. Happy Sunday. It's good to be here with you today, virtually, together apart. We continue to be here with you, and we're so grateful that we are able to be here. Congrats, Rebecca, I just have to say, what a joy it is. What a joy. So I will light the candle, as Dr. Christian said, and gong to gong 3 times, and we'll go into the silence before prayer. Knowing and feeling and sensing that one, the one power, the one presence, the one love, the one light. I know that that is all that there is only one thing happening here, and that is God expressing. God expressing through each and every individual that is here on our stage today, through our musicians and our beautiful singers, knowing that they are the voice of God, the hands of God, right here and right now on this planet. And through our beloved Dr. Christian Sorensen, knowing that Spirit moves in, through, and as him in the most magnificent way, sharing spiritual truths and the message that we are to receive today. With a heart full of joy and gratitude for all that is and all that is yet to be, that I just simply let it be. Thank you. You are a blessing to the world, each one of you. And you're a blessing to Seaside absolutely sure. We're so grateful that you're part of our Seaside family. We're so grateful that you continue to support us with your love and your words and your giving. And we want you to know that we are still here for you, even if our doors are not open right now. And we are still here. We have noon meditation live with Dr. Christian every day except Sundays. And we also are offering a class. We had the introduction last week with Valerie Carlson to Reiki. And it starts tomorrow night. It's a 3-part class. If you'd like to take it, you need to start tomorrow because it is necessary that you take all 3 classes. So if you're interested in learning more about Reiki or being a healer or doing some energy work, go ahead and check that out on our website. And of course, we're here with you every Sunday. And we just continue to receive an outpouring of love, letters. We still would love to get some video testimonials from all of you. Any of you that are brave enough to record a 60-second testimonial of what it is about Seaside that speaks to you. We would love for you to get that, for us to receive that. And that's at scstaff@seasidecenter.org. That's the email you can send it to, scstaff. But I want to read you just 1 or 2 of the letters that came in this week. We continue to just have the most amazing people reach out to us. This one says, "Dear Seaside, David and I want to thank you so much yet again for the wonderful Sunday services and inspirational talks that are available for us to stream over and over again. We look forward to Sundays especially when we can see and hear them live. It's truly the weekend highlight. The movie series you have been delivering has been particularly moving for both of us, with tears both times. I can't tell you what it means to us that you continue to invite us all to apply the science of mind principles, not only in our hearts and minds, but in our physical and societal world as well. For me, it's the treat and move your feet part of our teaching. We can't wait to see and hear what this Sunday will bring. Peace and blessings, Lori and David." Thank you, Lori and David. We so appreciate you. And here's one that says, "Sunday gratitude and love. Enjoyed catching one of your noonday meditations last week. It was so uplifting. Going to try to catch more. Hope all is well for you and your families. Sending much love and thanks for your light, Kathy." We are grateful. We are grateful. And as Dr. Christian said, today he is continuing on with his Life Lessons from the Movies series. And it's kind of a fun thing we get to do in the summertime, Life Lessons from the Movies. And today's movie is Yesterday. Yesterday is the movie that we are looking at today. And I am going to be reading a bit from this lovely little book that I discovered. If you know who you are, you will know what to do. Living with Integrity by Ronald Greer. And this is what it says. It's not the integrity of your ways. Is not the integrity of your ways your hope. Job 4:6. The story is told about Hendrik Kramer, a remarkable lay missionary from the Dutch church who spent much of his adult life in Indonesia. He was in his native Holland when the Second World War broke out. The Gestapo dominated the nation of Holland, forcing Dutch Jews to places like Cha and Botswana, and I probably said that terribly wrong. Late one night, a group of Dutch laypersons came to see Hendrik Kramer. They said to him, "Dr. Kramer, what shall we do? Our neighbors are dying. We don't know what is going to happen to our nation. Please, please, if you can, tell us what to do. We have got to do something, and we've got to do it now." And Hendrik said to them, "I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will tell you who you are." And if you know who you are, then you will know what to do. He opened his Bible to 1 Peter and began to read. "You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a dedicated nation, and a people claimed by God as his own to proclaim the triumph of him who has called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light." Dr. Kramer closed his Bible. Do you know who you are, he asked. Then you will know what to do. Thanking him, the group left. That night, they formed the Dutch resistance. I heard this account decades ago and thought all these years Hendrik Kramer's statement to that group remains a powerful anchor in my life. If you know who you are, you will know what to do. When faced with a difficult decision, when presented with an awkward dilemma, I have remembered. In moments I seek to be grounded as the person I am, I remember. When I seek to be anchored as the person God created me to be, I remember. I remember it as I seek to live with integrity. I remember it when confusion, shallowness, expediency, and self-centeredness are pulling me away from what has character, what has authenticity, and what is right for me. If you know who you are, you will know what to do. And so it is.
That's a powerful word to get the morning started. Thank you so much, Rev Deb. Good morning. It's me again. It is my honor to introduce our guest artists on Sunday mornings. And we're just so grateful for this dynamic duo to come and join us this morning. They've been here for many years, and they have been singing together for many years. And so we're so glad that they get to come here together and be here with us. Before COVID, and certainly hope after COVID is done, hopefully soon, every Friday night, they would be performing at Martini's above 4th, which is in Hillcrest area. It's a wonderful little club, nightclub vibe, like a supper club vibe. It's a fantastic place. So once this is all over, please go see them there. It's a wonderful venue, and they put on a wonderful show. And we're just so blessed to have them here today. And since they've been here, actually, Janice and Tony got married. So yay, there's that. That's awesome, awesome. And they recently also bought a home up in Marietta area. So thank you very much for making the trip down here and for having these two wonderful people. Let's give a wonderful Seaside welcome to Nathan Fry and Janice Edwards.
I'd like to give my congratulations to the Artist of the Year, Miss Rebecca.
Thank you.
We're so proud of her.
Thank you so much.
Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing
great song. Hey, that's Nathan Fry on the piano. Janice Edwards, newly married to Tony. Congratulations on that. And of course, you had San Diego's musical artist of the year joining you along with the Seaside Band. Woo! You guys, great, perfect song. I mean, that's just the Beatles. Get by with a little help from my friends. We are in a time where we get by with a little help from our friends, and it's such an important message. And this morning's message that I have to share with all of us, the life lessons from the movies this week, the movie I chose, as we've shared with you, is Danny Boyle's movie Yesterday. He was the director, and you can just hear these Beatles songs that are just, they warm our heart, they bring forth the nostalgia, they just, stir our soul, and the message is, what would this world be like without the Beatles? And one of the great lines in the show, in the movie, was, it would be infinitely worse. It's like, oh my, it's like, that's big. But I heard one of the actors share what that means is that, we would survive, without the Beatles, but it wouldn't be as beautiful, like a world without peacocks. You could survive without peacocks, it just wouldn't be as beautiful. This world, so many of us have been raised on those Beatle tunes. And so this was a fun movie that was created. And they had to go to the 4 Beatle estates to get permission to do this movie, because you can't go use these epic songs without the permission. And all 4 estates said, these are the Beatles. They're funny. They've got humor. They like little edgy stuff. And they gave the green light, and they created this movie for $26 million. And it went on to gross over $150 million. The people of this planet loved this movie because it touches our heart and our soul. And so the movie begins with Jack Mickle. And Jack is a musician who just couldn't make it. I mean, the movie starts with him playing in the bar, and basically all that's in the bar are his friends. And they say, hey, play this song and play that song. And, it's kind of disheartening to play to an empty house. And they play, like, banquets that are just, like, dive things. And his agent, Ellie, and Ellie has loved him pretty much. Not that she's ever professed that, but you could tell since she was 14. Saw him performing at a talent show, and those wide-eyed 14-year-olds, she became his roadie, and she was her his manager, and she would get the gigs, and she got all excited. She got the big festival gig of the summer, and Jack is excited, and Jack is working on his playlist and excited, and the camera zooms in on this big crowd for the summer festival in this big tent, and you see Jack just rocking out, and then they pan out into the audience in this big tent. Nothing. There's a couple kids playing and his 4 friends cheering him on, but basically there was nobody in this big tent. And after the concert, they're walking home, and Jack says to Ellie, you know what? It's time for me to hang it up. I've been trying and trying. I'm going to have to go back to work. She says, no. You can't give up. You have committed yourself to that. What would we do next? And he said, but it would take a miracle. And she says, I believe in miracles. And with that, she drives him to his bike. He rides a bike. He doesn't drive. She's also his chauffeur. And he hops on his bike, and he's riding home. And there's this global event that takes place. There is this 12-second planetary blackout where the whole planet loses all of its power. Something just surges, and everything shuts off. And when it goes dark, Jack's riding his bike home at midnight, and a bus hits him, and he goes flying. And when he wakes up, he's in the hospital. Ellie's there with him. He's waking up, and he's coming to, and they kind of laugh about what happened, and he's missing his front 2 teeth, and she says, hey, you got a gap. You're missing your 2 front teeth. And he says, well, I'm kind of like a rabbit in reverse, And it's like, what am I going to do now? And so the next scene is when Jack gets out of the hospital. He goes to visit his friends. And this movie is a lot about friends. You know, the friends were there in the concerts. The friends were there to help him get going. And the friends had a couple presents for him to welcome him back. One of the guys pulls out of the bag these electric false teeth. Go, da, 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 da. It's like, because you lost teeth. He said, yeah, I got it. And the other gift out of the bag was a bus. He says, because you got hit by a bus. He said, yeah, I got it. You know, I know. But Ellie goes and gets him a guitar. You know, she knows because his guitar got busted on the bike. And he opens up and said, this is a beautiful guitar. And they say, play us a song. He said, well, this beautiful guitar deserves a beautiful song. And he plays the Beatles classic, Yesterday. He plays it beautifully. There are tears in their eyes, mostly Ellie's, and they're just coming down. They said, where did that song come from? He said, the Beatles, of course. And they go, who? The Beatles. They said, Jack, man, come on, you're pulling our leg. He said, don't you get it as the greatest song of all times? And they said, well, it's not that good, Jack. You know, it's like, all right, little modesty here, please, Jack. And Jack is just, you guys are pulling this game or this joke on me. And so Ellie takes him home that night, and he goes and he Googles Beatles. And all that comes up on his screen are Beatles. There's no sign that there was ever a band on this planet. In those 12 seconds of blackout, the Beatles got wiped out from the planetary consciousness, and Jack is now feels the only one left who can remember this. Have you ever thought you were the only one who knew something, this great idea? It's coming through Jack. It's driving you crazy. He goes into his album connection, goes to the Bees. No Beatles. They're gone. And so he starts trying to remember some of this music. And he starts bringing it down. And he's got all these notes up on the wall. Have you ever tried to remember a song you kind of heard, you kind of knew, but remember all the lyrics? You know, right? Try to remember all the lyrics in the right place with all the music, with all the nuances, just one song. My favorite song, Stairway to Heaven, I could never call forth all the words that go into that song. But here he is, he's in his frustration, he's trying to figure it out. His mom says, hey, you want something to drink, son? He says, yeah, if you can bring me a Coke. And she says, what? You know, Coca-Cola, Mom, please. And he's like, what's that? And he realized, oh, that's also been wiped away from the planetary memory. Not only the Beatles, because he Googles Coke, and all he gets is Pablo Escobar that comes up under it. And so he's recognizing something is going on, and so he hears this music. He has to share it. It's a great sound. Humanity has to have it. And so Ellie's got him another gig, and he's walking out of the house, and his mom and dad ask him to play a song. He checks, yeah, I got time. So he sits down, and you know his dad's there, and he starts to play this beautiful intro to Let It Be. You know, that magical, just the sound of the piano that stirs your heart at the beginning. And just as he's going, Dad pops up and says, hey, wait a second, let me get your mom here. And she brings the mom in and says, okay, Jack, start again. You know, to get into that kind of song, you've got to get the mood going inside you. So he gets the piano riff going. And he starts singing, Let It Be. Hey, wait a second. You know, there's somebody at the door. And he gets up and he lets in one of the neighbors. The neighbor sits down. It's like, come on, Mom, Dad, don't you get it? It's like Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel. Don't you get what you're listening to? And I go, what are you talking about? So he starts in a third time, and the guy's phone starts to ring, and he picks it up, and he starts, and it's like, ah! And so he goes off to play this song out there, Let It Be, this great song, and you see him playing it in like a rec center to a bunch of kids, not a bunch, 3 or 4 kids popping balloons. It's late night, after party. It's like a horrible spot for him. You see him playing, you know, a song, a Beatles song, beautiful song, and he's in a retirement home, and nobody's listening, and Ellie finally says, Jack, let's record these songs. They're the most beautiful songs. You ever have somebody believe in you? I mean, this is a part of what this story is about. You've got friends and you've got somebody who believes in you when you're ready to quit. When you say it's got to take a miracle, and they say, but miracles are possible. Have you ever had somebody believe in you so much that you were willing to push through the strangeness of it all? Have you ever been the one who has been the believer in somebody and said, you've got it, kiddo, stick to it. Take that shot. Get in that game. I mean, this is an amazing story of someone who could see something in something and said, Jack, let's record. I've got a friend in a studio, and it's like one of these makeshift studios. You know, you're talking a little ways back, and this recording studio is on the railroad tracks. Could you imagine trying to lay down this perfect quiet track? You got, wait, here comes a train. That's how it used to be at Seaside. You know, the train would go through our backyard. I have to stop. Just lost my train of thought. You know? Oh, I gotta get a new track here. Anyway, and you could just see Ellie come alive because Jack's in that studio singing. She was just 17, and she's just singing in the microphone, matching melodies with him. And I want to hold your hand. And they put on the plastic dish gloves. And they're just having a ball recording it. And when you have a recording, and you're not a hit yet out in society, you're not as like famous as Rebecca, who's on all the news shows these days and in the newspaper, you've got nowhere to sell your album. So Jack takes it to where he works, which is a warehouse like Costco. And everybody in line, I did this with my first book. Hey, here you go. It's like, hey, you're buying soap. Did you know with that soap you get a free CD today? Hey, you know, with that toilet paper, you get a free CD. And I do that still with my book sometimes. Just happy to get it out there. But one of the guys who got it was a local talk show guy. And he thought it'd be a great angle. You know, warehouse guy giving away music with the purchase of toilet paper. And so he had him on. He had him play some music and did a little bit of talking and then cut to the cooking segment of the show. And Jack's driving home with Ellie after the show and saying, I'm sure these famous guys didn't start off on cooking shows. This is not what we had in mind. You ever have like your heart break? Didn't quite go the way you want. But here's an amazing part of this story that is true for all of our stories in life, is that you never know where the miracle is going to come from, where the break is going to come from. He gets a call on the phone, and he picks it up, doesn't recognize it. Says, who's this? And he says, it's Ed Sheeran. He said, and hangs up. Because Ed Sheeran's not going to give me a call. You know, one of the best singers of our day calls back. And he says to Ellie, it maybe really was Ed Sheeran. And so when he goes home and he goes up to his room, there's a knock on the door. And his mom answers it. And it's Ed Sheeran at the door. And she didn't know who Ed Sheeran was. She said, hey, you know, Jack, Ed's at the door. And Ed comes down, and Jack comes down, and it's Ed Sheeran. And it's like, this is crazy. Ed Sheeran's in my house. He said, well, I was local, and I heard you do this number on our local talk show. And then I heard your recording of yesterday, and it is truly amazing. And my opening band for my next leg of the tour is just canceled. And would you come to Russia with me to do some of your songs? No more than 30 minutes, because then they're going to kick you off. But, you know, and he said, sure. It's like you never know what's going to click in life. I mean, that's the beauty of this story, is that things begin to shift in our life that set us up that we would never have anticipated. But that is about trusting a higher power. That is about trusting law of life. It is about being in integrity with who you are. I am here to express music. I'm here to be that conduit for whatever it is. It is that congruency of what's on the inside. We share it on the outside. And so Jack goes down and he says, guess what? We're going to Moscow. He said, Jack, I got a daytime job. I'm a teacher. I can't leave. He says, you got to. He says, I can't do that. And so he gets on the plane with his other friend, Rocky, his roadie now, and they're on their way into Moscow, and Jack's working out a song, and you see him step onto the stage in Moscow, and he plays Back in the USSR. You know, that's all. He just... See, I hear him. I can't get him out my mouth. But, and all the women are going wild in there. And after the show, backstage, they're just saying, man, that was amazing. Ed Sheeran just saying, you wrote that in the plane in the 3-hour trip over here? How's that possible? Let's have a contest. Who can write the best song in 10 minutes? And they go off. Ed sings his song. And Jack pulls out of the ethers. Long and windy road. But I bet you could hear it, because the Beatles songs are part of our culture. And Ed said, I was always told there was going to be somebody who'd be a better songwriter than I am. Ed's agent was there, Deborah Hammer. How you like that? Hammer. That's how she was. Jack, got to come back to L.A. We got to sign into this deal. You are just what I've been looking for. You are going to be a hit. You're going to be a wonder. It is amazing. So Ed goes home. They throw a goodbye party at his house. Ellie gives him a toast and says, I wish you the best and great success, or a quick failure and swift return home. And is in that moment, they go upstairs to her room, and he's got all the lists, playlists, the words. He's trying to figure out words. And she's been drinking, and she says, since you're leaving, I can say anything now. She said, I've always loved you since 14, ever since that day at the talent show. She said, whatever happened that I ended up in the column of friend and roadie as opposed to the girlfriend column. You could feel it starting to get good. And Dad comes in the room, hey, come on down, we got to say goodbye. So off to L.A. he goes. He meets Deborah Hammer at her Malibu beach house. And she looks at him, and she's just like tough ages. Man, you look skinny and round. We got to do something about your image. And he says, why? What's wrong? She says, well, you don't have an image. I've looked you up. You've been basically a failure for 10 years. Nobody ever came out to hear you. You did. Have you ever had anybody just put you down, but they want to use you? She said, what we're going to do for you is make you a ton of money, and I'm going to take it all. And then I'm going to buy this whole beach of Malibu. And, she's at least upfront and honest with the whole thing, and gets him in the studio, and he's trying to figure out the tunes, and the anxiety is beginning to build. When you get anxiety, when you get tension, I like what Robert Downey Jr. said. He said that worry is praying for things to happen you don't want to happen. The worry and the anxiety is you're putting your prayer and your energy, and he's starting to get these moments he can't remember, and he says, I got to go back to Liverpool. And so he gets on a plane with his friend Rocky, but Deborah says, you got to be back Friday. You got to be back. He says Saturday. He says Friday, you're meeting with your image team, and and that night you've got the James Corbett show. And he says, okay. And so he goes to Liverpool, and you see him trying to remember the lyrics. Imagine trying to remember the whole Beatles catalog with nothing but maybe having heard it at one time. And so he's walking along Penny Lane. And he sees this woman just watching him. Like he saw this Russian guy watching him. It's like, who? Nobody knows him yet. And he goes to Strawberry Fields. And he goes to Eleanor Rigby's grave and the chapel where Father McKenzie was darning his socks and writing sermons that nobody would hear. And he began to get it, but the nervousness. But he asked his friend, "Hey, can you give me a cigarette? If I smoke a cigarette, what's a cigarette?" See, it's another thing that got lost in that great cosmic blank out there. And he's starting to feel better. And the night before he goes home, he's in the hotel, and he gets a call from Ellie. And Ellie's in the lobby. He says, "Come on up." And they reconnect. She said, I just wanted to drop in. He said, "Just want to drop in? You're 370 miles away." He said, and they go out to dinner, and they have a blast. Their 20 years of life together was just magic, and you just see all these images and her support, and you could see her love and his love, though he's a guy. He didn't know what was going on there. But, they were dancing and doing their thing, and they come back to the room. They've been drinking, and it's like, "Can I kiss you?" And they turn off the lights, and they start. And then she backs away. She says, "I just don't want to be a one-night stand." And he says, "It may not be a one-night stand." She says, "When do you go back to L.A.?" He said, "In the morning." She said, "That's the definition of a one-night stand." And so she leaves, and the next morning he wakes up and says, "Thought I blew it." And he chases after her to the train station, and it's like he misses her. But then she hadn't left, and they sat down, and they had that talk, and he was about to tell her how much he loved her and wanted to be with her. And the agent calls her, "You got to get back, Jack, right now. Got to go." And Ellie says, "Jack, I don't want to stand in your way." And off he goes back to L.A. He goes to the big board meeting where they're setting up the image, the marketing team. He's got 50 people in this boardroom trying to tell him how to name his album, and what to do. And the lead guy says, "Jack gave us some ideas for the albums." He said, You know, Jack came up with Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Oh, that never worked. Too many words there. You know, and then the White Album. Jack, that's just not racially inclusive. You know, that's not going to work. Then he came up with this one, Abbey Road. It's just a street. What are you thinking? But Jack, we've come up with the album. You know, it sometimes takes 16 people to put together a song, but you do it by yourself. Not even Carly B. It's just you. We're calling it One Man Only. Oh, okay, and they get him dressed up in fancy ways, and next thing you see him waking up in cold sweat for James Corbin's show, and he's in this talk show, and they saying great music. And he said, did you create this by yourself? Yeah. He said, you had no help. And Jack said, no. And James said, you know what? We like to bring surprise guests, and we have two guys here with us tonight that say that they actually wrote this song, and I would like to invite out here onto the stage this time. You see these two guys walk out, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. And then it cuts off, and you see Jack waking up from a nightmare, cold sweats pouring down. And that this is what begins to happen when you're out of integrity. All of a sudden, Jack's not feeling good about this. He knows that he is lying. You know, integrity is having just a complete integrity with what is going on. It is morals, the high ground. It is principles. It is speaking the truth. It is doing what is right, even when you know nobody is looking. Integrity is being in alignment and bringing forth that which is inside you to the best of your ability into this world. You know, Don Miguel Ruiz said, be impeccable with your words. Speak with integrity and never say anything bad about yourself or about others or gossip about others. It's what you're putting out there. Jack, it's starting to eat him up because this is not the guy. He was just having fun sharing these Beatles songs. It was something the world needed. But all of a sudden, being out of integrity, you know, what is it that I can do in this moment? Because his launch was coming up. And the next day, and he was down on these beach, on this rooftop, and the beach where thousands and thousands of people are there waiting for him to come on out. And Ellie comes in and just shares, you know, how special he was and all those and things that happened before you go out on stage. His roadie takes him to the door to the rooftop, and out he steps, and it was the back ladders, and nobody was out there. It was like he was almost relieved, but he brought him back into the thousands of people. He jumps on the roof, and he just bursts into the angry rendition of help, I need somebody, help, just anybody. You know, he's just going wild, the crowd's exploding. His friends that are throughout the show are there in the front row cheering him on. His mom and dad are out there. The place is going wild, and it's just, it's no longer feeling good to him. You know, here he is becoming this world pop star, this phenomenon. They release some songs, and he is just being chased down by everybody. After the show, they have the press conference, and that guy from Russia and that woman from London were there, and they said, who do you like best, Paul, John, Ringo, or George? It's like, oh no, they're going to bust me. They're holding up a yellow submarine. And it's like, I was like, what do you do? And they wanted to talk to him privately, and so everybody left. So this is the moment of reckoning, right? In our life, when we are out of integrity, you know, we might be on this ride, but if we are not congruent in integrity with who we are and what we are, the moment's going to come. You know, it said, you know, who cannot be trusted with truth on small matters, sure cannot be trusted with the important matters. And his soul is stirring. You know, what would you do? I mean, ask you. You're the only one bringing forth this Beatle music. And so these two come and talk to him, and he just figured he's busted. And they said, we too heard those Beatles songs. And we just want to say thank you for bringing it to the world and keeping the music alive. Now what? Ernest Holmes, he's the founder of religious science, right? He writes in his book a little bit about integrity. That I want to share with you, where he says that we are to believe in ourselves. Got that? We are to believe in ourselves because we believe in God. And the two are one. We are to know that the passing events cannot hinder the outward march of the soul. And the temporal imperfections, those mistakes, those incongruencies, the lack of integrity, those temporal imperfections of the human cannot dim the eternal integrity of the divine. So here he is, a planetary phenomenon, just launched his album. What would you do? Zillions of dollars are lined up to come in. World fame is his. They're talking about him changing the scope of music. We see Jack calling up his buddy Ed Sheeran, who's getting ready to do a concert at Wimbledon Stadium. You know, it's like Coliseum. Tens of thousands of people are going to be there. And Ed makes a deal that Jack could come out and sing a few songs. So he steps into a crowd of a sea of just incalculable amount of people out there. And he sings, she's just 17, and then sings the song, Here Comes the Sun, and back in the USSR. You guys like my voice. Huh? But the last one, all you need is love, love. And while he's singing all you need is love, he has his roadie, Rocky, bring Ellie to backstage. And she thinks, wow, this is great. I'm going backstage, Ed Sheeran, Jack, she's watching. And as he finishes the song, he says, oh, I forgot a good part of this. I'm going to leave you waiting right there. Because for him to find the integrity, he needed some coaching or some spiritual input. I'm going to come back to backstage in a moment because this was really valuable. So these people that he didn't know what going to do, they gave him a note. And on that note was John Lennon's address where he lives. And so Jack drives to the Solitude Beach spot and he knocks on the door and a guy answers and said, are you John? Yeah. Yeah. And they go in and they have some tea. And he said, are you happy? He said, yes, I am. And they're walking on the beach, and he said, are you successful? He said, yes, I'm successful. Because I told you, I'm happy. And to be happy means you're successful. I wake up every day and enjoy what it is I do. I've sailed the world. I have fought battles. I won some, lost some. I found my love of my life. And I fought for her sometimes. You know, it's complicated. You've got losses. You've got gains. You got pride. You got prejudice. But it's all worth it. He said, Jack, how's your love life? Jack says, oh, bad. He said, well, if you want to make it better, if you want it back, don't complicate it. Go tell the girl you love her. And be honest with everything you say with everyone the best you can. And wrapping up their conversation, he says, how old are you, John? He said, 78. He said, that's fantastic. You made it. And John says, you are a strange one. Yeah? And he said, can I give you a hug? Jack's asking John, okay. And he gives him a hug. John and says, you need some psychiatric help here. And he backs away and says, not anymore, thank you. And so that's when he goes back and gives Ed a call. He ends up on the stage singing those favorite songs and calls Ellie backstage. And Ellie's watching on the monitor. And then after the last song, he says, I want everybody to know that I've made a couple big mistakes. I've been a fool. The first is, and Ellie, I need you to know I haven't been truthful. Those songs that I have been singing, I did not write them. They were written by Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison. And I have just been the vehicle through which they have been coming to this world. And everybody's now booing and not liking it. But I want you all to know that since they're not my songs, I am releasing them on the internet. And said, Rocky, upload them. And boom, they go live online. And now the agent's going berserk. You know, Deborah Hammer's running down the hall trying to get him off the stage. And he said, the other spot I haven't been truthful, Ellie, is I have loved you from the beginning. I have always loved you. And everybody in the crowd goes, ooh, ah. And says, Ellie, I want you to know that from the beginning, I have wanted only you, and that my heart has been true, and some other wonderful things with that, but I got to go now. And he runs off the stage, and he meets Ellie in the hallway, and, you know, she's just looking, oh, my goodness, said, that's a lot to take in. That's a lot of information, Jack. Had I known you were going to have me up there, I would have had my hair down at least. But not having written any of that music, that's really bad, on a global scale bad. And with that, the agent's running after them, and they run off, and they jump in the car, and they drive off, and the movie ends with those two driving off, and Ed Sheeran singing us the song, What a Wonderful Night. In a moment, truth can change things. That I have waited for the perfect time to make it right. And you go through the montage of all these special moments these two have had, and you recognize the friendship, you recognize love, you recognize how somebody, when they believe in you, you find a power inside of yourself, and things begin to happen, and connections begin to unfold that you would never have planned that begin to support that. And it's an amazing montage of these two in the song of Ed Sheeran's, and then they end up in the house getting together and making love for the first time. And the last shot of the show is the two looking out the window afterwards, and the music pauses for a moment, and Jack says to Ellie, I feel like Harry Potter right after defeating Voldemort, and things are going to get back to normal. And she looks at him and says, who's Harry Potter? Boom. And that's it. God bless us as we believe in the twists and turns and the magic and the wonder of our life, and know that music is part of our journey. God bless us as we continue to enjoy the romantic comedy of life we find ourselves in. So with that, let us bring back to the stage Nathan Fry and Janice Edwards. Woo!
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
When the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Oh, let it be, let it be. Oh.
up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Oh, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.
Janice and Nathan, thank you. That is such a sacred song, such a mood song. You know, it's just imagine the movie. He's trying to play it for his dad, and it gets interrupted 3 times. His friend comes in, and Dad says he's singing the song called "Leave It Be, Leave It Be." You know, it's like he just didn't get the heart to singing to his mom, and or in the movie he was playing, creating. Hey Jude, and Ed Sheeran said, "No, you got to change it to Hey Dude." It's like, it's a beautiful song once again to John's son Julian, you know, who is going through the separation. You know, it's going to be okay. You know, take a sad song and make it better. I mean, there's such richness, you know, to the messages that are there. And when you just, invitation to suicide is what Ralph Waldo Emerson said. So anyway, well, truly, Seaside's an original. I mean, it's just amazing, wonderful things of spirit in its newness expresses through us all. And being that we are available for its spontaneous moment of expression, we know that whatever comes our way, we can be that place of transformation and stand upon solid ground. I mean, that's just what we continue to remind ourselves. But we need to be in integrity. You know, we need to be congruent with bringing forth what's inside into the world in which we walk. So Seaside continues to share this message, whether we are together physically or together virtually. We share this message with the world, and the message seems to be getting further and further out there that comes from this vortex that we create together in consciousness. And so this is the time of our service, whether we're physically together or virtually together, that we take the time to give our gift. You know, in giving our gift, we're able to create this spiritual message that goes out to the world in Seaside's unique, integral kind of way. And so as you give, it comes back, but it's not why you do it. You do it because it's part of circulation. We do it because it's an extension of our consciousness. We do it because we're coming from a place of gratitude and overflow and appreciation, supporting that which is good to expand. And as we do that, it comes back into our world in ever expanding kind of ways. So this is the time that we get to take our offering from our heart and our soul. And, you know, if you're home, write that check or tap one of the tabs on the screen that says donate now, or go to Vimo or whatever the other ways in which we're able to do it. You know, we're hugging virtually or etherically now. It's also how we're supporting Spirit's work in our life in this way. And if you send in a letter, a card or a check, send it in with a letter. We love reading those. Find it very touching. It brings that extra juju. Or if you do it online, there's a spot to write a comment. Share your love. It feels really good because, as we've said, we're in a bubble here. You can feel your consciousness, but it's nice to have your words. So along with your gifts, include in those gifts your thoughts, your heart, your love. We'd like to share those. It helps us all feel good about the work we're doing. And so what I'd like to do is share a prayer of gratitude, and then we'll do together our affirmation of abundance. So right now I can feel the love. Oh, I stand here in a sense of appreciation and gratefulness for the generosity and the outpouring of good that is moving through every member, every family member, every friend of Seaside. For truly, there is a motion that is creating a solid foundation. This motion of love and support and givingness is blessing the giver. It's enriching our individual lives in ways that are right and real. The body is made whole. The sense of peace and internal calm prevails because I know that God is my source no matter what it looks like in this changing sea. I'm in integrity with knowing and putting Spirit first in my life always. And what I find is Spirit comes forth in those moments of question and panic and concern, anxiety or worry. I do not augment or animate or enliven those moments of concern, but I begin to go first to the presence of God, the foundation upon which I stand, and become that place that the inner becomes the outer, that I begin to be that place in which that Spirit moves and expresses itself. And so with joy, I support Spirit's work, and with joy, I become the expression of God's work, with the creativity, with the sounds of all already known within the one mind, the mind of God. And I know that I'm in integrity with bringing forth that creative expression because God is in integrity and I am one. There is not two. I am an integrous expression of the divine. So with joy I give, and I find my world prospering, expanding, and expressing Spirit's work in love and joy in all ways. So it is. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Those are your guys from Seaside. That is such a great musical sound. That's Bob Mathis on the saxophone, Harley there on the bass. That is Paul on the drums and Max on the Blusendorfer. That's a great job, guys. You're just fabulous. And Nathan and Janice, thank you so much for bringing your love and the Beatles and your presence. And that is just a joy. And congratulations, you guys, on your marriage. That's wonderful. Very exciting. And speaking of exciting congratulations, Rebecca Jade, San Diego's Musical Artist of the Year, voted by the San Diego Arts Awards. Just congratulations. All just very proud of you. Very exciting. And band, man, you sound great on Sunday mornings. And what a team we got here with our musical team for sure. Giving us sound is a wonderful sound team. You got Matthew back there, and then behind the cameras and in the switching room, we got a wonderful team that is able to bring this out to the world. So I encourage you to share that with people. And not only am I talking, but I want you to know that when I'm done, you can go to our prayer room. You just click the Zoom link. You put in Ernest. If you don't have the link, you go to Zoom and put in Ernest, and that will take you to a prayer room where you can have private prayer with just practitioners from Seaside. And speaking of practitioners of Seaside, we had 3 new practitioners that have gone through the licensing process. It's at least a 4-year journey of classes to go through the licensing. They all passed their licensing exam, but last week, 3 of them just passed the oral exam, which means they are now licensed spiritual practitioners. And we have Lori Gertz we have Dee Seidel, and we have Susan Sullivan that adds to our team, creating 48 practitioners on our list of practitioners here at Seaside. So congratulations to them. And as I mentioned last week, congratulations to Reverend Rebecca Berry, who's on board here as part of the ministerial staff. So our ecclesiastical team continues to grow. It continues to expand because Seaside is alive. It is growing. It is expanding. Even though we might not physically be meeting, that will happen again. But what we know is that we are together as a spiritual family, a spiritual community. So share this message with your family. Share this link that comes up on the Facebook Live or on the Seaside page, and share it with people you care about and say, here is a message today about integrity, about miracles showing up in the strangest places, in line at a warehouse store, how miracles happen in friendship. We have got these amazing stories that if you're in integrity, that in the toughest of situations where you got a whole planet of people looking upon you, you can choose to do that which is the highest and best and stand before thousands of people and be in integrity and share what you have. This is the kind of spiritual message that will heal the body, will heal our life, will transform our emotions, and make this world we walk in even more fun no matter what is going on, because as Ernest Holmes wrote, is that doesn't matter what the human condition is, the integrity of the Spirit will prevail through you. So with that message, I want to pray. And so I just stand in this moment in this divine vibration, this wonderful field, this life force, and can feel the divine motion of God moving and grooving in this time as me. For I am a Spirit expressing with all of us, wherever we may be around this globe, on whatever day in which we choose to tune into this consciousness, this stream, this message of integrity, of love, of friendship, of being available for the miracles to show up wherever Spirit chooses, because it's all God. I choose that this is the moment in which I am receptive to the greater good in my life. As good as my life has been, I become available for the next iteration, the next step, the next expression of my God expression. For I'm integrity with the infinite presence of God that is moving through me. And I know right now that what I bring forth is original. It is God made manifest in a new way through me, as me. And as I become that divine expression, healing happens. When Spirit is moving, it purges out anything unlike itself, and this body becomes truly the body of God, the vehicle in which I move through this world. And as I move through this world, the crooked ways are made straight. I begin to be the deliverer of the divine to wherever I am, to whoever I am with, in my own unique way in which I am confident in my self-expression. For the expression of Spirit is having its way as me, as you now. And so the relationships begin to move into even a greater experience, a divine laboratory of love and communication and integrity and self-expression. For the blessings and the grace of God is here now in our life, and the abundance to support that is already in place. We're living within an infinite world, in a world where there is enough, and we become that place in which Spirit supports its expression as each and every one of us. So every prayer that has been brought forth to our prayer request chest that is prayed on by these 48 spiritual practitioners and the 4 or 5 ministers of Seaside, I know right now that the good is manifesting. If anybody has any desires of healing in their life today, send in the prayer request, call in the prayer request, or just lift your heart into this moment and that issue up into that light and that love, and know that that infinite intelligence knows what to do, for it guides the universe. It knows what to do. So in this moment, I bring Nikita into our collective prayer field, for this is an individual who's been sitting incarcerated by ICE on our border for the last year and a half, and has just been released, legally released, and is now in a position of attempting to figure out how to maneuver into the world in a way of ease and grace. And for Carrie Sanchez, I know right now that the perfect healing is there in her life and the children's world, for the presence of God is moving and doing that which it is intended to do. For Steve York, who underwent open heart surgery a couple days ago, that it was a success, and that the healing is swift and perfect and comfortable, and that he steps forth with that wonderful rhythm of life. For God is in and through all things. There's not a big issue and a small issue. God is infinite. It is everywhere. And so I remove my concern and concepts or anxiety that this is a biggie and this one's not so big. It is all spirit. It is all divine. And all healing takes place at the same level of healing the sense of separation that there could possibly be a spot where God is not. So I know right now that any sense of separation that is going on within this Seaside family dissolves into the nothingness from which it came. We come to experience our sense of connectedness and the oneness and the one mind and the one heart and that one spirit. For truly, this Seaside community is growing. It is thriving because the individual members are feeling the presence of in their life, that there is not a sense of loneliness, but a connectedness. They can feel this etheric hug that goes out from this very heart center of Seaside. We are one now. Grateful that this is the truth, that is happening, that healing is going on, that I'm able to live in this life and begin to know my value at a greater way. Even as Ellie began to question her self-worth, as Jack began to rise up, I know right now if there's any question in our sense of worthiness, it just fades into the nothingness from which it came, because there is not two. There is God expressing as each and every one of us, and Spirit is worthy, Spirit is in integrity, Spirit is whole, Spirit is abundant, Spirit is love, and that love is expressing now through each and every one, and I am grateful for its manifesting relevance in our individual lives. So I let go of the concern, the anxiety, the worry. I just let go and allow Spirit to absolutely have its way in this moment. It's our very life. So it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say, yeah. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Say I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Say no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Right at home or wherever you're watching, sing it with us. And I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on. To no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
All right. Woo. Hey, and before our affirmation, just want to tell you, next week I'm talking life lessons from the movie The Peanut Butter Falcon. And if you want your heart moved and heartstrings tugged, it's this kid with special needs escapes from his facility because he wants to go to wrestling camp and become the Peanut Butter Falcon. And on his escape, he finds ex-convict who kind of together they go through this. Well, you got to tune in next week to find out all about it. But I'll tell you what, right now it is, I live my life in integrity. Together, I live my life in integrity. Touch your heart and say it again. I live my life in integrity. One more time, like it's really your truth. I live my life in integrity. Till next week, we love you.